our first speaker for the day, who is in person of Dr. Gloria Kumawu. She's going to present on international trade and internet governance in the African perspective. So please, let's kindly invite Madam Dr. Gloria Kumawu. Let's give her a hand of applause. Thank you.
So my name is Gloria, as he said, a proud 2024 GhanaSIG Fellow, very, very proud one. You can see my badge here, exceptional badge, which shows that I was there. You see, we were there before. We were there, and there are seniors in the game. So now I'm here as your senior fellow. But in any case, after I become fellows, we all become fellows. There's no senior and there's no junior. But it's good to feel that you were there before. And I was wondering what the sensations would be amongst you now, remembering how I sat somewhere there in my time and how I was lost, as they say, it's street confusion. But welcome to the club. Today is 1st July, and we are told that it is, in Ghana, it is what? Republic Day. Republic Day. So it used to be commemorative, but now we are told it's a public holiday, which will be celebrated on Friday. But at least today is still Republic Day. And so I want us to, for ourselves, be proud. Well, the non-Ghanaians should join us in celebrating Republic Days. If we can give a big hip, hip, hip to Ghana. Hip, hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip, hip. Hooray! I say that because we are first who we are, be it Ghanaians, be it Nigerian, be it Burkinabe. That makes us who we are. That makes us Africans. And that makes us members of the global community. So it's very, very important to remember and to take note of our identity, and in all that we do, be proud and think towards making sure that whatever we are doing harmonizes with the global agenda, starting from the national agenda. So we are first Ghanaians, we are first Burkinabes, Nigerians, Cote d'Ivoire, Ivorians, before we say we are Africans and the global community. This morning, we want to look at a very interesting topic. I know somebody told me when I got in that the people here are all gurus. They are hard gurus, experts, academicians. And so you are going to make my work very, very easy. And me, I'm a teacher and I'm a facilitator. So I'm not coming to stand here to lecture or to present or pretend that I know everything. No, we are on it together. So I ask questions, and who knows, somebody might get something good from me before I leave this podium. So let's be attentive. So the topic that we have for the day is the international trade and internet governance, taking Africa in perspective. I want to start by asking, as we've gone for a 3-week journey, what do we know about internet governance? How did the internet come into being? Can somebody tell me in a simple sentence or paragraph? Who can tell us about the internet governance system? How did the internet come to being? From APRANET to internet, summarized, simply said, in the layman's language. Who can help to show that you're on the 3-week journey online? Because we want to set the parameters right before we digest this one. Yes, who can help? Please don't let those who praise you feel bad that they praise you. The gurus, please, somebody should tell me in simple language. Yes, no, not class rep, anyone at all. What is internet governance about? Because I want to make my presentation short and swift and practical. So even though most of the things are on the slide, we'll be jumping over them as you go on. So who can help? Internet governance. How did the internet come to be in any base? Look, let's take it one by one. How did the internet, as we call this internet today, how did it come to be? I don't want to tell you because I know you know. So who can help, please? One of the sharp ladies, sharp brains, please. My ladies, already I'm aware that we are few. And I want to make a case for an increase in the numbers of the women. So please, do it for me and let me stand on that to ask EGIGFA to give more women's quota. Yes. Don't go to your library. I see people have taken their phone. You are now looking. You have gone to your library on your phone. Hey, yeah. So I'll have to consider giving the price or not. But you try. Let's see. Yes, a hand is trying to go up on the third table. Please try. Do you need a microphone, or you can illuminate? You can amplify your volume. Okay, please try.
How we can actually go with those decisions online.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please, can we give it to him? Okay. That's a good one. Yes, please. You can go on. Second table.
So the internet came about.
Please, if you can mention your name, Frank. Then you will be getting to memorize the names, please.
My name is Frank. So the internet came about because during the war, the US was thinking about how they would react in case there is a distraction on one of their central ports. So they decided that the universities should come together and then set up a network where they can communicate so that in case there's anything, another sport can also handle it. So that is how come the internet came about, where researchers were sharing information in order to be able to work together going forward.
Thank you so much. Please, can we clap for him too? Third, and then the fourth question. The third question, who can tell us what ICANN stands for? I'm sure even this morning it might have been said here before I entered. But let's see. Don't go to your library. Oh. This one, it should be at your fingertips. What does ICANN stand for? Yes, my lady. ICANN.
Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers.
And what do they do? Just add a little flesh. So you've given me the full name, but what do they do?
So they are responsible for the GTLDs, the domain names and IPs and stuff like that.
Thank you very much. I hope you are hearing what they are saying. Your hand is going up. You want to say something? You want to add? Please give her the mic. She wants to add something. ICANN.
Talking about what ICANN does.
What ICANN does, yeah.
They see to it that when domain names is available for all, putting universal acceptance into consideration, that everyone should have access, domain names should be safe, making the internet safe for all.
Okay, thank you. Now the last quiz question. What is significant about the year 1983 when it comes to internet and internet governance? What is significant? Yeah. Hey, somebody's getting my prize. So yeah.
I think that is when the IP was adopted.
Okay, that's one. What else? What else is significant? You are doing well. You are praised and it's true. What else? When you say the IP was adopted, please add more flesh. So you get the full. Can you come clearer and more forcefully? Yes. Somebody should bail you out. Yes, somebody should bail him out. At least these three tables have spoken. The next two is left with you. You have to justify your inclusion. Okay, somebody spoke from this table, so it's left with the last table. Yes. Can you say something about the APRANET to internet? Let me give you a very simple, cheap one. The last table there. Any contribution?
The network that was formed out of the research collaboration with the universities in the US. But when it was then expanded to the global level, we have the internet. Thank you.
So clap for yourselves. You've all managed to earn something, and that is good. So this is very necessary for us to know where we are going to. We should know where we are coming from. So we all agree that. I have to manage this from here, right? Do I manage it from here? Okay. So looking at international trade and internet governance, as we said, looking at the African perspective, we want to first of all look at the concepts. We want to look at what we mean by international trade, look at internet governance, and look at Africa in perspective. And this morning, in talking about we celebrating our Republic Day, I was reading some material and I read that some years back, you know, Ghana used to be called Gold Coast. He said that we have walked from some places, come through Nigeria, Benin, and settled here. Now, it further says that as we got here and we were living with our chiefs, they said one day they were there at the shore and then a boat arrived and then there were some white men in the boat. And then when they came, they had some small bottles of liquid that when you drink, it can turn your brains upside down. They had powder, they had mirror, they had some funny things that we had never seen in our system before. Now, as they brought those things and we were mesmerized by that, what happened? They said, okay, you can have this, and in exchange, I'll take from you what? Your people. You get it? So you can see that trading started not today. It's been a thing that has been with it's been part of our human systems and our human psychology. We are used to trading. I want something from you, you are looking for what you get in return. Somebody even joked and said, even Eve in the Bible, when the snake went to speak to her, he asked her that, oh, they said you should not eat this tree. You should not eat any tree from the tree. No, if you eat it, you'll be wise. So in exchange for wisdom, she decided to take the apple and eat it, even though they had been told not to eat it. And we know the story of Jacob and Esau, isn't it? When the father asked that, go and prepare me soup. When you bring me the soup and I take the soup and I'm satisfied, I'll do what? I'll bless you. So we have seen that tendency and that trail run through the human system from the ancient of days. It's not only today. But it becomes interesting when we're talking about international trade. Somebody put it simply, and I've never forgotten that trajectory. He says, when you talk about international trade, it's simply, I don't know the names here, so I'll use A, B, and C. It's simply a matter of A buying B's gas from C and selling it at a higher price to D and calling it energy independence. So Ben is buying Gloria's oil, but it's not buying from Gloria, it's buying it from Catherine and selling it to Paul at a higher price. And then Ben will call that international trade or energy independence. So that is international trade. And it just means that it's trade that goes beyond our domestic shores, our internal affairs, going beyond the shores, going beyond the border. Then we now say it is international trade. Now, what is the relevance of this to digital internet governance or to say e-governance? What is the relevance and what is the link? While international trade law governs relationships among countries, when you talk about law, just the law, international trade law, you're talking about law that governs business among nations. So you have, like the WTO has got agreements about how we should trade internationally. But when it comes to internet governance, I'm looking at the link between the two. We are talking about how, you remember we asked you what is ICANN? And we say it is a multi-stakeholder body that controls how the internet is governed. So we are looking at the multi-stakeholder process that makes policies to govern the universal usage of the internet space. And in that international usage of internet space, there are no artificial borders. There are no borders and there are no barriers. So it is open and it's limitless. Yet when it comes to trading, it is not open and limitless. When it comes to trading, there are rules that govern trade. So Ghana has got its own set of rules about how trade should go. So we have the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. You have the Registrar Generals, who are seeing the name now. We have various sectors that regulate how trade goes on in Ghana. When you go to Nigeria, there are local laws that govern how trade goes on, and it determines even what taxes you pay, who is allowed to trade, how much capital you have before you trade. In Ghana, for example, the Investment Promotion Center will tell you that if you're a foreigner and you are coming to trade in Ghana, you need to bring a capital of so much. There are areas that Ghana will say non-Ghanaians are not allowed to trade. Only Ghanaians are allowed to trade. And to be the same thing in China, it will be the same thing in Burkina Faso, it will be the same thing in New Zealand or Senegal. So that is where the complexity is. Whilst trade itself is governed by laws and regulations, tax regimes, we are now looking at how this same trade will now operate in a space that is not controlled by barriers. And would we say that because this trade is now happening in a space that is not controlled by barriers, there should be no regulation? I don't think we can say so. Because wherever there's no regulation and wherever there's no order, there will surely be chaos and there will be confusion. So now it is how you and I are going to manage trade, which is regulated by laws and regimes, manage it in a space that is not regulated strictly to say by law, because of course, ICANN has also got some regulations, but we're talking about barriers or national laws that will bar internet use. And we know that with internet use, we are talking about interoperability, so that every system that is used on the internet should be able to speak to any other system in another country. That is what ICANN and that's what the internet governance space expects. Now, looking at all this, we are saying that it's not only ICANN, as we know, ICANN is only an example, but there are other multinational institutions, like I mentioned, the WTO, which took over from the GATT, that's the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. That was in 1947. It was taken over by the WTO, which is now operating. And then there are other specialized UN agencies that also regulate trade in the internet space, as well as regional blocks. We know the AU, the African Union. We have the ECOWAS for our West African sub-region. Then you have the SADC and the East African blocks. We have them also, who also regulate those spaces. We have the Asian community that also have its rules. We have the American bloc. We have the EU. They also have their own regulations. So all these little groups have their own regulations, and yet they want to operate and trade in a space that is saying there should be openness, there should be accessibility, there should be uniformity. And so how are we going to manage this as we go along? Now, I move on to internet governance at the global space. So we are now looking at the global distribution of the internet infrastructure, the networks that affect communities that we call now the internet. Remember, I asked you how the internet came about, like you rightly said, first it was small networks, starting from the research center and the army groups. And then as they now decided to come together and pool resources, we now moved into what we now call the internet space. This quotation is just there to mesmerize you, to know that some research was done. But don't crack your heads about it. What you said, the definition you gave, is the right one, the simple one, and the go-to one. It's the same thing that somebody else has put here and put 2015. Next year when I'm coming, I hope I'll have your quotation and your rendition of what the internet governance means or what the internet space is, and we'll use it. So we are saying that the nature of the internet, as I said, renders a challenge for traditional forms of governance. Because traditional forms of governance have strict rule, strict, territorial space holding. So Ghana, like today, we're celebrating our Republic Day. We want to safeguard our territorial space. And we don't want, even though we are Africans, we don't want Togo to overtake us in trade, in sports. Even when it comes to football, we compete in everything. And so your national rules and your national laws will surely be made to safeguard your space. So now we are looking at how, in the midst of the individual rules that govern the internet space and the individual rules that govern the trade space, only looking at Africa for our discussion today, how well can we operate as a continent? And we cannot lie about the fact that the internet has come to make trading easier, isn't it? I never shy to say that when the internet boost came and then things became digitalized, I remember years back when we were By the way, I'm very old. I'm not a small girl. I'm ancient. I'm not even old, I'm ancient. And I remember when, some time back, when I was in the university, I traveled out. If I want to call my mother in Ghana, in Tema, I was out there. She would have to go to Committee 1 post office and book about 3 or 4 days before, and that she wants to call her daughter, wherever you are, in Hungary or wherever you are. I studied in Russia, Moscow, so she will go and book, and then they'll give her time, because that call has to be routed through maybe UK. If it's a French country, to be routed through France or whatever. So she'll go and book and they'll give her time. I would equally go to a communication center in Russia and they'll give me time, and then I'll be there at the same time. Sometimes when you call, they want to say, hello, ma, I think your time. Then the line has dropped. You say, oh, then you have to queue again for 15 minutes because they have to call. You know those days. I just want to see how far we have come. So imagine doing business in those days. So those times was one. Another experience for me personally I want to share with you, when the bank started digitalizing, and then they brought those small plastic cards that they call debit card, credit card. My children all went for one. And then they tried talking to this old lady to go for one. I told them that me standing here, I have gone to put my money in the bank, unit to bank, Ben's Bank. I want to go to Ben's Bank, stand there and say, today I want to withdraw 5,000. Take my paper, sign, let's give it to me, let me count there and there. So whether I saw Allah and so yeah, and then I get my sleep. I don't want to talk to any machine. Tomorrow the machine will tell me that I took money when I was not taking money. Oh, you can imagine, they suffered to convince me to take that card. And I always go to the bank, I'll go and queue, when I come to be laughing at me. They said, ma, but you can't do this. I said, no way. And I did that for years till I saw the light. And I became transformed and born again in the internet space. And now, I don't remember the last time my leg stepped in the bank. Yeah, this morning, the amount of operations I've done on my phone, the money I've moved on my phone, the problems I've solved with my phone, you cannot say it. So this is just that the internet space has really come to push, accelerate development. And that includes trade. Because formerly, like we were saying, we started with barter systems. So even in the villages, I grow corn, I bring my corn, Kate will bring her ripe tomatoes, or she likes cloth. She's a guru in cloth. She knows all the cloths in Ghana. By the way, her side hustle is cloth and dukus. So if you want, and she's a fashionista. So you can see her for that too. So I'll bring my corn, and maybe my daughter is going to get wedded. So I'll bring her 3 bags of corn, and then she'll give me only 1 piece of cloth. Because weddings, those times where you know the in-thing, so I need a cloth to go and do the wedding. So she'll give me 1 cloth, and I'll bring a bag of 3 bags of corn. That's the way we're trading. Then it's moved to using monetary value, isn't it? That's the local one. And then now you take the corn and the person will give you money. Teku, Sempwa, Benyotro, those days. Then it became the cities. And so that happened. Then yesterday somebody told me something funny and I had forgotten about it. He said, in those days when we were trading that way, our markets were very small. So he says that he remembers that his mother one time went to buy cassava from an old lady in the market. And when she came to cook the cassava, they were all brown, hard, and yellow. And you know, for pounding fufu, it would not do well. She took the silver bowl with the cassava and walked back to the market and said, Mami Asantewa, the cassava you sold me is not good. Jiwadie. And she returned the cassava. But you can see that even now, for me standing here, I don't go to local markets 2 minutes away. When I go to market, I'm buying a bulk. So that luxury of buying cassava and then cooking today and then it's not good and just walking across to Mami Asatiwa and say your cassava is not good, it's not even there. That's even on the local line. Then now move it even to the international side, where we are trading with Nigeria or trading with Togo, even those are close, but take it that we are trading with South Africa. Now the internet space has come to make all those trading very, very easy and very, very simple, because with a click of a button, you can get everything moving, you can get payments done, you can get invoices made, and everything is done for you. So this renders trading is of a very problematic thing. And then at the same time, we are trying to look at how we would manage the internet space. So in Africa in perspective, we are saying that the international trade and internet governance are intertwined. We are using digital technologies to impact economic growth. And how we as a continent will navigate these complexities is what you and I have to be thinking about in our various corners where we sit, in our offices, wherever we are placed. How can we use our knowledge of the internet governance space to soften these grounds and make sure that our laws and the policies that we pass rather promote and enhance trade in the digital space rather than hinder it. We are all aware that when you go to countries like China, and even Dubai has the same thing. One of the platforms that we commonly trade or commonly communicate on here in Ghana is WhatsApp, isn't it? But those countries will not allow you to use WhatsApp because of trade wars that they have with the owners of the platforms of WhatsApp. Not because of Ghana, not because of Kuku or Kwame, but because of their own wars, they don't allow. So if you go to Dubai, for example, you have to download Botim. So then you ask the questions about how the rules and the laws of internet governance, which is talking about machines being able to speak to itself, systems being able to speak to itself, how are the regulators then regulating it, and what can we also do to make sure that this does not affect us negatively. And so this now begs for the question. I remember that a few minutes ago, Madam Sarata was telling us that EGIGFA, this school always produces a fellow for the ICANN fellowship. There are many more other opportunities. And what I'm saying so is that if you are not at the negotiating table, they'll take decisions that will not favor or augur well. So we have to make sure that we force ourselves into those spaces, become more vibrant in the internet space so that we can speak to the issues. Because you and I are internet users. You and I trade on the internet. Now somebody's decision and somebody's barring people from doing something on the internet is affecting me from freely engaging in trade with my Dubai partners or with my partners in China. But because we don't get into those spaces, Africa is so tiny and we are not able to call for our bids. So access to the internet is one of the issues when it comes to the African perspective. Madam Kate in her presentation gave us real data, so I'm not even going to worry myself about that, about access to the internet penetration in Africa. I think she narrowed on Ghana, but it's just a shadow of what is happening on the African continent. When we go further, I'll show you some of the statistics when it comes to Africa. We are not really penetrating the market when it comes to the access to internet, even though we are doing well. We are improving. We have moved further from where we were in the early 2000s, but there's still a lot to be done. And then the issue of free flow of data across borders to boost productivity. Oh, you have gone ahead of me. Okay. So this is where I am. So we are looking at how we can use trade agreements to regulate the internet space. And an example is the use of the data protection laws and then the cybersecurity laws. There's a lot of gap in that space. And then there's also the talk of intellectual property rights. So we make our music in Ghana, and then before we hear it's being played in other countries. Have they paid the correct rights to us, even though we are also guilty? Because we are always watching Nigerian movie, watching it, and then even that's for those ones, the women are the most guilty about that one. But the issue is that, are we really paying the rights to those? And this is all about the issue about internet governance and the space. Because it's not physical, The owner is sitting somewhere, but the system should be able to align and regulate so that as trade is now taking a new perspective, and there's nothing we can do about it. That's the way the world is going. It's even going to go deeper and even become more sophisticated, the internet trade. So how can we ensure that intellectual property and cybersecurity and all those are protected? So, broadband. So, in Africa, just as in Ghana, broadband speeds are very low. When you compare, those of you travel, you can see sometimes when you get to some airports, the moment you come out of the plane, your phone is already beeping, PP is picked already. The speed is so fast. But in our circles here in Africa, the broadband speed is so low and very slow. Yet we spend so much. We pay more than the Western countries do. Now, I took the liberty of finding out which country in Africa has the cheapest internet. And I was surprised to find out that it is Sudan. But this is 2024 source. So I don't know if anything has changed between that. So I'm giving a caveat. Now they pay an average cost of $2.40 per month for their broadband use. Now Zimbabwe and South Sudan are said to have the most expensive data. We're paying so much. I'm sure, I don't think we would even venture in Ghana to pay this amount. You end up sitting with your data in your office. Nobody will buy. Then I also took the liberty of checking which African countries shop most online. And your guess is as good as mine. It was said that it's Nigeria in 2024. Even though we had 21 million shoppers online, that's the African data, not worldwide. 21 million. So you can imagine the amount of trade, the traffic that is going on. This is in Africa, 21 million. And that is 2% of world online shoppers. So even what we are doing in Ghana, in Africa, with all our 21 million, is nothing to write home when you talk about the world. Which means that if we also do our work well, and we improve upon our infrastructure, we can tap into that international world market, 98% of online shoppers. And that is the catch for us. It means that if we also do our homework well, improve our broadband access, literacy, and all that, we would also penetrate that market. And ask yourself, look at farmers in the north, the tomatoes they are selling. Shea butter is an export commodity. How many farmers in the north have internet access? How many of them are even educated enough to be able to trade on the internet? And these are areas that government policies should look at. Those of you who want to stand for DC, MC, what do you call the one, the assembly member, MP, or whichever rights, CSOs, we should all look at that. Because that's 98% that we are not tapping into. It's a waste, and it's so sad. All at 21 million is only 2% of the international online trading. And that's and then the top of the list is Nigeria, followed by South Africa and Kenya. And the three countries account for half of the 21 million. That's how good they are on the online shopping. The 21 million, Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya account for half of that number. So, and looking at the African perspective, we have to look at how we can promote digital sovereignty so that we develop our own digital capabilities and platforms so that we can assert greater community control over the community. We are not prioritizing at all, and we are giving lip service when it comes to digital governance and education. We are not doing our best at all. And it is, I think this talk has to be taken, I was discussing with Madam Kate that we have to take it up to a different policy level and make sure that we draw attention to the need to look at the digital sovereignty and developing the e-governance space so that Ghana as a nation and Africa can capitalize on the use of the e-commerce, digital trading, and then internet governance. It has to be a policy issue, and all of you have to throw your weights behind that to make sure that it happens. Some of the problems that we face as a continent is the issue of multilingualism. The African continent has different countries. Depending on who you talk to, UN will tell you 54, AU will tell you 55, World Bank will tell you 57, somebody else will tell you 52, depending on who you're talking to. But all these numbers are around 50 countries. Most of us use different languages. It's only when you come to the colonized places that you might have a common denominator like English or French running through colonized countries. So you get Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Liberia speaking English. And that will somehow facilitate trade. But most of the people who indulge in trading, go to Makola. It's now, today, that there's no work, that you find graduate selling. But typically, those who were trading, were they those who have finished Legon or UCC? No. And most of them were not very, very literate. So what I'm trying to say is that we have a lot of work to do to be able to take advantage of that internet space. We have to look at our multilingualism. I was at a conference in Uganda last month, and this issue about getting a common language for Africa came up strongly. It came out strongly. I know West Africa, we've tried with the ECOWAS bloc, even tried to get a common monetary value, but we always do good policies, very beautiful ones, and we launch them, cut the ribbon and the tape, and then that is the end. It doesn't get anywhere. So this issue of languages, either are we going to launch onto the foreign languages of English and French and Portuguese, or want to develop some people talk about Hausa. When I went to Uganda, talking about Hausa and Swahili as African languages. So somebody then, I'm sure Ghanaians, Ben is already doing, You can't imagine yourself learning Hausa at this age. you prefer to stay with your English language. So those are the issues. So Africa has really got a big problem when it comes to the internet space, but some way, somehow, we have to navigate that space and get an understanding. Then human capacity building, as I said, we don't have the capacity when it comes to trading on the internet. We have a lot of illiterate literates. As I was years back, there are so many of the old Gloria working out there who will have nothing to do with digital spaces, who will not want to risk. But then again, that begets the question of how well the governance is being undertaken to be able to give trust to the citizens, to the users of the space, to be willing enough to be vulnerable to dare and venture into those spaces. That's something that we fellows have to ask ourselves. How well enough is that space being governed? What rules are in place? What protections and what systems are there to ensure that there's discipline, there's safety, there's security as we evolve and indulge in that trade? There are some countries, I don't want to mention for to be sued, but there are some countries that I would dare not, no matter how enticing the offer is, trade on internet, I will not dare do internet trade with them because I'm afraid I have not got the assurance. But the internet space, the cybersecurity space, should be able to give that protection to make people like us willing to be vulnerable. Because the system and the structures are so protected that we can dare go there. So whether we like it or not, as for the internet space, it has come to stay, and there is nothing that we can do about it. Which country has the fastest internet speed? I said that my research found out that when you look at broadband speed, not Wi-Fi speed, when you look at broadband speed, Egypt came tops. I was surprised. But they have invested in that infrastructure, and that's the results we are seeing. Cote d'Ivoire, 59, Mauritius, Ghana didn't do bad at all. So at least, I think we should pat ourselves on our shoulders too. We are not too bad. We are not too bad, but we are not there yet. There's still a lot of work to be done because South Africa leads when it comes to that industry. So I'm even surprised to see that our speed is better than this. But I think we've invested in some amount of fiber optics laying, and that has put us ahead when it comes to the quality of internet and the speed. With even Rwanda, with all their progress, they have been touted as one of the developed nations, but they are behind us. And who has the largest internet company in Africa? Can you guess? South Africa. Which company? MTN. That is it. MTN has the largest. Listen. Now, when it comes to the country with the best internet quality, using quality of life index. Again, I was surprised to find out Mauritius has the best quality in terms of quality of the internet. Ivory Coast, Ghana didn't surface here anyway. So don't ask me what's opposite. It didn't surface in the first 10. When talking about quality, when you're looking at using the life index, so the people in the country and their use of internet. So that's the space, which are not the speed. Now, I also asked the question, which country is number one in internet technology? I didn't put the answer there so that you read and tell me. So tell me. Which country is number one when it comes to what? Did you say Ghana? Hey, that is your wild dream for Republic Day. That would have been a good gift. Yes. Which country? Yes. Somebody said Morocco. I'm not care of Africa, please. This one is international. Oh, not Africa, not Africa. Ah, that's why you're going to Morocco. Yes, internationally. China, South Korea, yes, what else? India, yes, more guesses. They said that country is a global leader in both technology and economics. It houses most of the world's largest tech companies. It houses them. Are you sure? Don't go to your internet library. Don't go to your internet library. No, it's not here. US. Yes. Yes. So, well, the research says it's the US. Now, which African country is known as a tech hub? Yes. Which country in Africa? South Africa, Rwanda, yes, it's more guess. Who said Kenya? You are not even confident. Somebody said South Africa. Let me see South Africa. Rwanda. Somebody said Rwanda. I want to see. I said on up. And somebody said Kenya. Two said Kenya. Yeah, Kenya is known as a tech hub. Unfortunately. I wish it was Ghana as the one speaking here. So as we said, internet governance has come to stay. And internet governance can only develop through digital innovation. Now we are talking about borderless trade. So it's not like the one that you go to a Falao border and then the soldiers will open your bag and then they will look through and then decide to look at the cloth and take two for themselves and take some of your cornflakes and your Milo and seize it, etc., etc. No. We are talking about trade that is just by the click of a button or a tap on your computer. And most of this is driven by fiber optics, the satellite dish, or digital telescope. Now, we are talking about trade in traditional and non-traditional commodities. We are going to talk about trade. We always talk about gold, iron, mangoes, whatever. But these days, trade is even in services. Even marriage is being traded on the internet now. You can look for a husband on the internet. You can even sell wives on the internet. You can sell husbands on the internet. You can sell house helps on the internet. Isn't it? Yes, you can sell your services on the internet. I can let people in Korea know that I have share barter, I have whatever. So don't talk about internet governance and Africa and trade, talking about traditional and non-traditional. Okay, we also have to look at the use of mobile money platforms, which have now increased and multiplied. And most countries, not only in Ghana, are also developing their own mobile money wallets. So we have to look at how we can harmonize this, especially we're talking about African trade. Because Kenya started this for farmers, and now it has grown. MTN really capitalized on it, and they became the leaders in that vein, and all the telcos are now getting their versions of the mobile money. So the fintech companies have to look at how they can put structures in place to ensure that the space is governed, regulated, and secure. Now you have to look at e-commerce platforms that have come. Jumia. Now if you are hungry, you can just take an app, have a choice of foods and restaurants you can choose from. You can pay a rider or just come and ring your bell and they've given it to you. In the same way, you can sit here and buy the latest phone from South Korea, as you said. You don't have to go to any agent. You sit here, you order, it will be delivered at your door. That's how far we are going. And so we are looking at how digital trade is connecting Ghana and Africa to the world. Now, policy challenges. Because Africa has got varying economic and financial policy regimes, it affects our ability to trade together. Yesterday, I was reading that Ethiopia has, for the first time in 50 years, allowed and agreed foreign banks to operate freely and directly in their system. Formerly, even their computers were all in America. You couldn't go there and just freely work on their system, in their space. And it's the same thing came to banking. So imagine if we say we want to trade among ourselves in Africa, and yet StanChart or EcoBank or whichever bank we have here cannot trade freely with Ethiopia that has got some goods we want to sell. Then we have to also look at how local policies of the African countries will affect the international trade. And I want to use a simple one that we all know. In Ghana, we can talk about the e-levy, which was introduced, and how it affected trade, especially the mobile trading space, and how we had to scream and get it removed. So it's not only Ghana, but other African countries, our domestic laws, if we don't take care and we don't pay attention to it, some of the laws that we put in place could affect our success in the international space. Access to internet space remains unequal, not only in Ghana, but in the whole of Africa. I gave you the example of the share barter trade farmer in Tamale already. And they talk about the African Continental Free Trade Area, which we launched 2021 to today. Where are we? We say we are still implementing. We are crawling. But the digital space is not crawling. It is moving fast. Sometimes they said 2G, 3G, 4G, and China is running. And we are still crawling with implementation of something that we say is for African continent and for our trading, that we want to trade freely with 90% of goods among ourselves in the African continent. And yet, we cannot implement something like that. And when you look at the export-import partners for Ghana, I'm using Ghana as an example because we're talking about Africa. Look at our 5 top export and import partners. There's not one from Africa. There you go. Switzerland, China, Canada, South Africa. I didn't see Nigeria, and I didn't see Zimbabwe. So the trade agreements internationally are serving the international community very well. They are making sure that when they put a law together, they don't overlook any comma or full stop. It serves their interests. They do it very well. What are we doing about those laws and those agreements in our own space? I gave the example of Africa. What are we doing about it? ECOWAS has tried some number of trade-related instruments, including the ECOTIS, that's the ECOWAS Trade Information System. Like I said, we said ECOWAS passports. We did it. We are trying now to remove some of the restrictions to make 90 days permissible in most of the African countries, which is a good step. But it's not good enough. I think we have to move further if we really want to enhance trade, to bring down some of those barriers. Like I said, the economic partnership agreements that we had with the UK and the EU, which have almost fallen apart, especially with the EU one, when we signed the Samoa agreements, which we are not even able to follow through now, because the African countries don't have money to fund themselves to go for the meetings, to even go and discuss these agreements. But yet they will sit there, they'll meet, and if you're not there, they'll pass, because they are using the quorum, and they'll pass the law, and the law will work for you, because it has been passed and you are part of the catchment area of that law. So what are we doing about that? And whether we like it or not, there are a lot of platforms, foreign platforms, that are operating in our space here. So what should Ghana or Africa do in moving trade and ensuring that we have sound internet governance? We have to expand our infrastructure, as I said. It should be our priority and our focus. We have to focus on initiatives like GhanaSIG, local initiatives that will promote our own business. We have to invest in digital skills for all farmers, artisans, hairdressers, carpenters, everybody. Because we have people who are producing very nice furniture. Bogas, there are other ones, Fenat, and the rest. You sit here, you see, when I turn on my internet, I see flashing. Somebody in China is selling furniture, and very, very cheap. Why should we not be able to also showcase and be able to sell our furniture freely without any hindrance? We have to lead policy design and ensure that there's interoperability of processes as well as interoperability of legal regimes. So the regimes that we have in Ghana should speak to the regime that is in a friend country like Burkina or Togo or a Portuguese-speaking country, whether it's Angola. Our regime should be able to speak to itself when it comes to trade. Our laws should help us to be able to trade among ourselves. There should be no restrictions. I've forgotten somewhere we went to, we're coming, I think it's the same Uganda. We were living, and it was so horrible the way we were being checked, and our baggage was being checked. And this is just Uganda, an African country. It is worse. Even UK will not do that. Of course, they will use scanners. They don't even need to touch your bag before. But this was physical. It was so humiliating and funny and raw. So these regimes, our legal regimes, should be able, and the processes should speak to each other. So we should have one uniform process for Africa. We should have technologically neutral signatures and authentication methods. Today, you can do an agreement and do e-signature. How many of the women in Makola, how many of the farmers there can use e-signature? What are the protections for them? That somebody in, I don't want to call a town around here, in the suburb of Ghana, will not sit down and pack in 1 minute, clone and get a duplicate agreement like that and send. So those are the issues. Why those poor farmers will not even venture into that space. And then we have to talk about smart, fair digital trade policies, especially as we are moving towards, please help move the slide then, because I've done one before this. So what are the key challenges? So the key challenge, I was going to throw this to you, that how, and this, I've already said this, how does this play out in the world with different norms, different legal systems? We have hackers and systems, and yet we have very low technological expertise. How would this digital trade work for most of the people? Please move it forward. So we are saying that Africa, okay, you've gone to another one, okay. We must embrace multi-stakeholder models of internet governance. We must include the local and private sector in all that we do. It should not be government's business alone. So everybody must get on board in making sure that we move Africa forward when it comes to internet governance and international trade. We must prioritize affordable, reliable internet access for all citizens. And then we must also broaden our strategies to bridge the gap in the digital divide. Now it's only mostly urban-centered. The rural areas must be looked at. We must strengthen technical skills that foster innovation, education, and awareness fora like what we are having now. Until I came here last year, I was very, very ignorant, very, very lost, and very, very helpless. Now I speak and I even see ways in which I can help others in the bigger space, including our legislative space, to become more educated and more useful to promote internet governance and international trade. We have to increase participation in international internet governance institutions. Like I said, engage in the system, as Raymond will be telling you on the last day, to engage in the system. Can we move to the last one? Is it the last one? Or what we should do? I think I've said that already. Expand whatever. I've said all that already. Lastly, my conclusion to you today is that Africa is at the digital trade crossroads in relation to internet governance and international trade. We are at the crossroad because looking ahead, we see the gains and the need to engage in trade on the internet, in the digital space. But that's the in thing now, and that's what everybody is doing. Nobody is carrying, even tomatoes. Yesterday, somebody called me and said, oh, if you need marketing, I'll bring it to you. I mean, everything is now E. Everything is, even babies are being put in incubators, everything. So it's the way to go. So we are at the crossroads. How are we able to manage our space to be able to fit in and benefit, to tap into the 98% of online trade that we are not benefiting from? It's a question to you and I. Now, the global nature of services and applications implies that the internet infrastructure and resources, such as the numbers and domain names, etc., used for deployment, need critical attention. You cannot be let go. And then there's the last point, which I want all of us to take home, is there's the urgent need for us to raise more ambassadors. Very soon, GhanaSIG, you might have to consider running 2 streams, not 1. I know you say funding, but if we understand that, as God said, the field is big, but the laborers are few, right? That's the biblical quotation. The field is big, but the laborers are few. We can transpose that to the internet governance space. Madam Sarata. So the field is big. The space is large, but the laborers are few. We have to raise more ambassadors to spread the internet governance knowledge across the continent. Remembering that charity begins where? Charity begins where? So it all starts here with us in Ghana. Talk about Africa, but we have to look within. We have to look at Ghana. What can we do as we live here as fellows? What can we do to also contribute to that internet space, to reduce the number of illiterate literates? And yes, illiterate literates, to reduce the number when it comes to internet governance and comes to the digital space. What can we do? So let's have 52 ambassadors of internet governance on Friday, living here, invigorated, charged, and challenged to go out there to spread the word. On this note, I want to say thank you very, very much for listening to me, and I wish you a fruitful session and more deliberations for the days to come. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are grateful. Yes, indeed, the ecosystem is big, but we all have a space in there. So please, quickly, if anyone have any question.
You want to ask questions?
Any question or any? Okay.
I thought you set me free.
Hi, ma'am. Thank you very much for the presentation. That was insightful. My name is Desi, and so my question is, how can Africa ensure its digital trade policies are not just reactive to Western and Asian tech powers, but also if they can actively shape global internet governance standards?
Thank you.
Okay, so I think let's take all the 3. And
Okay, thank you so much for the enlightening presentation. I just want to add to the fact that it is more real that there are barriers in trade than we can ever think about. I think a month or two ago, I registered for an online conference in Botswana, and I had to pay $100 to be part of the online presentation. It was hybrid because of, number one, travel barriers, so no problem. I got to my bank to transfer the $100 to University of Botswana's account. I was being charged another $100 for the transaction. This is so real. Whilst now we have simple apps that I could pay a token for or on to pay $100. My bank was charging me $100, but it would have been far easier to, I'm sure, to transfer to another bank in the West. Yes, so we must all take this message and thank you because you are coming from the Parliament of Ghana. This message should, I don't know if you have the authority, our African parliament, what can we do? We should stop creating silos and then think of the broader perspective. When I travel outside, I still want to enjoy my Gan Kenke, and it should be easy for me to order Kenke online and delivered through any courier service, and it should still be hot. Apples travel to Ghana every day. Every day we are importing fresh apples. Are we able to export hot wache, hot kenke, or hot eba from with agushi stew from Nigeria to Ghana? This is how it should be. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The last person. Oh, okay.
That's nice. Okay, thank you so much. So the first, to the first question, I think in the presentation I did mention that one, we must make sure that we are at the table where discussions are held and decisions are made. Even in the corporate space, I've come to realize, having moved up the ladder, I've realized that if you're not at the table, a lot of things happen. Decisions are taken, they will share it. And when they come, you not even see the oil on their lips, so they will clean their lips nice, like come and see there. So, oh yes. So we have to be at the decision-making tables. We have to be at the international conferences. We have to be everywhere. And we just don't go and sit down and watch, but we go and we make our presence felt. We partake. We read before we go. Most of the times we see experts go to conferences. Sorry to say that. And they just go and those. So you go, you read before you go about the conference you are going to, so you can contribute, make inputs, and then speak to the issues. So that is one. Then again, I talk about our own local rules and regulations. What she's talking about at the bank, it's not UK that did that to us. It's our own rules. It's our own regulations, our own restrictions. And nobody seems to care or look at that. But that's why I bring back to the governance system and I say, we all should be ambassadors. The more we write articles, as we live here as fellows, the more you engage in the ecosystem, the more you make noise and bring this to the fore. We can take up columns in Graphic, in Times, in academic journals, and start writing, and start bringing these issues to the fore. Bring attention to it. That's the only way that these things get policy attention. For example, you were asking me what I can do in my space. Yes, I'm not a politician. I'm not a member of parliament. I'm a public servant, like any of you. I'm also serving. But in my own space, I've discussed with EGIGFA, I've said that we can transpose this to the legislative space. It will be difficult to get them. Let me say this off record. It will be difficult to get them to come and learn. But we'll try and find some carrots and sticks to make sure that it works. But they have to know, because as you pass the laws, if you don't even know about how the internet space is governed, sometimes you can say some laws going in, they come back and they say amendments or repeal that due to some of these things. So those who are doing the laws, for example, have to know what happens there. Do you know the implications of the Act 843, for example, the data privacy law? Do you know the implications? It's biting at us and it's eating us, and we're not even implementing it well. Do we know that the laws from the EU, whether we like it or not, it has implication on us, and how are we managing? So, I mean, we all in our own small way, as she said, have to make the noise, bring our contributions to the fore, and bring our voice to be heard. So as you go, don't go to bed, just engage. engage in the system, write, make noise, put articles on your Facebook page, on your status, write to the newspapers, etc., etc. And then together, we would raise the flag of internet governance and let everybody know that it is a space. That's the only way you can get government to look at it and pay attention and do something about it. It's a duty for all of us. On that note, I love you all. There's a hand. Yes, the last one. The third one is not here. Or I've provoked something again in you.
I think it's a thought that came across my mind. That's my sister was making a point about content moderation.
Yeah.
For example, these African countries, with experiencing coup d'etats and other stuff.
Yeah.
So if the government decides to put their personal interest above the needs of the people, what can we as advocates and ambassadors do to combat that?
So, 27 December 2024, did you go to the polls? Did you vote? You didn't vote. I should charge you. Civic irresponsibility. And that is also one of the reasons why the wrong people will come, depending on where you stand. Are you getting me? So we all have, there are many ways, but that's just one I've given you. That's why every 4 years we go to the polls. So Enkoye, you have a chance to speak and say Enkoye, and let it show in the votes by a very vast swift from 130-something to 20. That will send me a message that I'm not doing well. So when Ben now comes, he will sit there because Gloria was there and she was not doing well and they sued her. So those are some of the examples. Like I said, we all have a voice, we all have a vote, we all have space. And we must make that noise until the noise is heard. EGIGFA is doing its bit. It's a young group on its own without any call seat from anywhere. But they are struggling and trying to pull from here and there to give you and I this space and make some of we, the illiterate literates, more literates. So if we also join the train, and they have a campaign going on, I don't know whether they've mentioned to you already, to raise funds to do this youth education for the internet governance youth education. So we can, even if you send 100 cedis to them, $100 to them, it would also push their voice and send the mission somewhere. So we all have a way we can do it. And then let us also be proud. That's why I started by telling us that we are first Ghanaians, and then we are Africans. If we have that consciousness, and we are proud of who we are, and that is one of the forum I attended in Uganda, is one of family values, and they'll be hosting it in Ghana next year. It's a move to get us all come back to our consciousness of our African roots and our African identity. Because we are becoming so westernized and whitewashed and brainwashed. Nobody's doing it. We are doing it to ourselves. You should not blame anybody. And therefore, not even promoting ourselves. Like she said, why won't I be proud to sell wache? Why should I not be proud to promote my alata samla or my gang keke? Like me, since that time, since in March, I've said I'm not going to use any Brazilian wig on my hair. This, you see, is my natural hair. 100%. And that's what the Ghanaians are doing. So we have to start from somewhere. Be proud of what we are, canvass it, promote it, and move it. So the internet space is ours. And we only can make the noise so our government to give them attention. And like I said, it's not only government responsibility. We also have a responsibility and a stake in it. On that note, my final thank you to all of you, and I love you all. Now, I don't even know how I can give my gift out. So maybe I'll give those who ask the questions.
Exactly.
I think 4 people ask questions. This madam,
yes,
the lady,
the other lady, and
then him. You are 3, right?
Yes.
Yes. Who answered? Everybody answered the question. So identify those who asked the first, answer the question. Yes. Identify them. No, he is saying, I want him to identify it. Yes, identify them. The moment, so you cannot. So on that note, I'll give those who ask the 3 questions, and it will be fair to them.
Very fair.
Yes. Thank you. I love you all.
Thank you so much. Oh, we can do it better. We can do it better. Let's clap for her. Okay. Thank you, madam.